These videos are brought to you by MSCCasino.com and the 𝐒𝐄 Sporting Club. MSCCasino.com, check it out. Also, be sure to check out PF Painters and their website, pfpainters.com.
You are watching Sports Matters TV.
Okay, guys, welcome to Sports Matters TV in association with WrestleSlam the podcast, and we are joined by absolute greatness. A star that we've known for many years, and 2026 promises to be a massive year. Steph, it's great to have you on. How is things in your world right now?
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited. Things are great. You know, I'm back in the ring. I'm on the run of a lifetime. I'm doing things my own way and I'm having fun. So yeah, I feel great.
And look, you know firsthand, the independent scene is a beautiful thing. It really is. You have that freedom to travel the world, I suppose, you know, make good money, meet the fans all around the world as well. But you're going to have a busy schedule this year, no doubt.
Yeah, it's busy and that's the way I like it. You know, I'm making up for lost time. I got a lot of things that I want to do and achieve, and you know, I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Definitely. Now, health-wise, how are you feeling? Obviously, look, we know there was a serious injury a while back, but look, you're $1 million, maybe 110 out of 100. You're really on the mend, and you're looking at $1 million. And look, there's big things, big titles ahead.
I feel great. Yeah, I was out for a long time, but I rehabbed everything perfectly. I'm taking my body and my recovery and my rehab seriously, and you know, I literally have never felt better. I'm so thankful to be back at full health, as you said, 110%. And yeah, I'm excited to continue killing it.
And look, your mindset's definitely strong, because when something like that happens, it's quite serious. You know, like, you don't know what the answers are. You know, you speak to doctors and stuff, and it could be quite serious, and it was. But what was it like in that moment? Obviously, you were on such a mission, and then there's like a little stall. How did you deal with that mentally?
Um, I mean, I dealt with a shoulder injury really early into my career. So at that point, I kind of learned the art of being patient. And that whole experience, you know, I had to become okay with sitting on the sidelines, missing opportunities, watching things pass me by. Like, I had to go through that and then realize that for everything that you missed while you were out, there's going to be even better stuff waiting for you when you're back. So I had that to kind of refer to, but also I think part of it too was I stayed very busy. I stayed very active. You know, it wasn't like I got injured and disappeared off the face of the earth. Like, I was still traveling every week. I was still on TV. I was still active in storylines and in the wrestling universe. So I think that made it a little bit easier too, is, you know, I never felt forgotten about, or I never felt lost in the shuffle, because I made sure that I stayed as relevant as I could.
And sometimes the comeback is greater than the fall. I can only imagine, you know, when you're near, I suppose, near to that return, what is the anticipation like? Because you have, as you see, you're making up for lost time. You're still in storylines, but you want to be back in the place you love most, that ring. What was it? What's it like to get back into that ring after all that time?
It's awesome. You know, obviously there's a level of like, okay, like, how's my body gonna feel? I haven't done this for a long time. Like, ring rust exists. What, like, am I gonna be blown up? Is my body gonna hurt? How's my neck gonna go? Like, there's a lot of question marks, but as soon as I got back in the ring for the very first time, you know, I felt comfortable. I felt at ease. As everyone says, it is like riding a bike. You know, once you get back on, it does come back to you pretty quickly. That muscle memory definitely kicks in. So yeah, there was anxiety beforehand, but as soon as I stepped back in the ring, I knew that, you know, it was like full steam ahead.
What's it like to be one of the biggest stars on the planet? Because yet again, you know, your brand is huge. You know what you need to do, and you're going to have a lot of interest this year. Yet again, look, the indie scene is incredible. I always say, look, it's nice to take like time away from, I suppose, the big boys, but the independent scene is incredible. Obviously, you want to travel to as many countries as you can this year.
Yes, big time. Yeah, I mean, I would love to wrestle in Japan. I've been to Japan 3 times with Matt Cardona, but I was managing him. So a huge goal is to wrestle in Japan this year. I want to wrestle in Mexico. I'm so excited I get to wrestle in Ireland. That was a huge one. I've never even wrestled in the UK, which is crazy. So I'm making my debut in the UK, in London and in Dublin. So super excited about that. I'd love to wrestle in Germany. I want to wrestle in Malta as well because I'm Maltese. So that's like a cool little bucket list. So I have a lot of places that I want to go, and I'm already doing a lot of, my first times. I've already locked that in. So yeah, I'm excited to see how many things I can tick off my wrestling bucket list this year.
I'm glad you said Malta. For some reason, we ended up in Malta in February on a holiday, and I will say one thing: the place is incredible. But another thing, I've seen posters. There was wrestling events there. What would it mean to you to get back there, given that whole history, that tradition? I suppose it's in the genes. It'd be nice for you to go there and headline a massive show, wouldn't it?
Oh, it would literally be a dream come true. I've been to Malta once before with my family, and I just thought the place was awesome. And I've grown up being told stories about Malta my whole life and eating the food and enjoying the culture. So yeah, that would be a huge, huge achievement and an awesome moment. So I'm hoping I can do that this year.
Definitely. No, look, we're lucky enough to get you here in Ireland. OTT Wrestling, Joe and that fabulous team. You're going to be here. Watch this Sunday, June 7th. Dublin, Ireland. You come, you bring your presence. Listen, there's a really feisty roster there. We've got so many big stars in Ireland. Moila G, Kat Von D, Raven Creed, Sesh Martina. But listen, these that roster is going to be waiting for you. And I'd say you have your eyes on a few opponents, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I'm keeping my eyes out. I've known Session Moth for a long time. I worked with Myla Grace at TNA. I did my WWE tryout with Raven Creed. So there's history with a lot of these people. But yeah, I'm whoever is thrown at me, whoever wants a piece of SDL. I don't think they know what they're getting in for, especially the new and improved version, where I am right now in 2026. It is everything to me, and whoever's on the other side of the ring against me in Ireland at OTT, I mean, they're going to get their ass kicked. That is for sure.
And you're fairly observant because you mentioned Raven Creed, you know Moila, you know Sesh Ma, the Irish scene's quite big. What are you expecting? Because obviously you've heard great things about OTT and the Irish scene in general.
I'm expecting a fight. I know the Irish are crazy. I know you guys like to drink. I know you guys like to fight. Well, I mean, Australians, we're crazy. We like to drink and we like to fight too. So I think no matter which one of those women I end up in the ring with, I mean, you've got an Irish versus an Aussie. I think we're going to have a brawl, that's for sure.
I think the Irish and the Aussies are quite similar, aren't they?
We are. I've a lot of my favorite people in the world tend to be from the UK, Ireland, Scotland. All some of my best friends, they all end up from over there, and I think it's because we have a lot of similarities.
No, I love that. Steph, what would it take for you to sign another major contract? There's going to be a lot of people after that name. I'm going to be honest. You're yet again one of the biggest stars on the planet. We obviously know there was situations with TNA stuff, but what would it take to get that signature? Because I know for a fact there's going to be approaches. There probably is already. Maybe something has to be pre-planned. But look, I know the indie scene is incredible. It's a great time to explore that scene right now. But what will it take to get that signature?
Um, it would have to be what I want, something that I want to do. You know what I mean? Where I'm at right now, I'm really enjoying what I'm doing, and I'm having a
Mm,
lot of fun, and I'm focusing on perfecting the art of professional wrestling in every single way. And I do think, the best way to do that, especially in ring, right now is the indies for me. And
mm.
if I can continue to grow and improve, on my own on this independent run right now, and then when a TV opportunity that I do want to do comes by, it has to be something that interests me. It has to be something that aligns with my lifestyle. There's going to be give and take with everything that you do, right? So whatever is put in front of me has to be better than what I'm doing right now. And what I'm doing right now is pretty good. So, I have complete freedom over what I do. I'm making great money. I'm getting to travel the world and do awesome things. So I would be looking for, great money, the opportunity to travel the world and, have some level of freedom, over my life. So that's kind of what it would take.
And like the ball is in your court. I think that's the most important factor here. Like you're in a position right now where the ball is in your court. We're expecting many mega deals to come your way, but I think it's important that that ball is in your court right now. And it took a lot of work maybe to get there. Like, we've seen, people don't realize the hard grit. Like, you're on the road a lot, there's traveling, you know what I mean? It's not an easy road, as you know. You know that personally. It's not an easy road, but the ball's in your court, and it's going to be exciting to see what happens this year for you.
Definitely. I mean, I signed my first WWE deal when I was 22 years old. And at that point, the ball was not in my court. There is no option other than, especially as a foreigner, and you guys understand this too, when WWE puts a deal in front of you, you just sign it because you need the visa to get over to America. You know what I mean? And you're not going to turn down a huge TV opportunity when you live halfway across the world. So, I've been through that period of being the rookie who doesn't have a leg to stand on and has to sign the first thing put in front of them. I've worked at a few different TV companies now. I do have more of a name. I do have more experience. I do have more to add. And as you said, with that comes a little bit more I have a bit more integrity about what I am willing to do and what I'm not willing to do. And I don't feel the pressure of, agreeing to the very first thing put in front of me because the alternative is still really awesome, which is what I'm doing right now.
And like you mentioned WWE, because obviously I remember all that. I remember the Performance Center. I remember the whole, buzz around your name. Is there something in the back of your mind that would say when the time is right, you would be open to maybe going back to WWE? Because I suppose when you look at all the platforms right now, I suppose it's still kind of at the top more than less, because we all know WrestleMania is a spectacle. I'd love to see yourself and Rhea Ripley, headliner WrestleMania in due course, two Aussies going at it. But is that something that's in the back of your mind and maybe it's a goal when the time is right and maybe you dominate the indie scene for a year or two and you say, right, look, maybe I'll go back and I have unfinished business.
Um, I do think so at some point, but the longer that I am away from WWE and the more that I enjoy, the lifestyle that I've created for myself, I'm not exactly in a rush to do that. And I mean, I honestly have to say, I think part of it is there have been people, like I've been released, I think, for 4 years. And there have been people that got released when I did initially, got re signed, and have since been refired.
Yeah.
And, there's quite a few people. And I don't know if I want to put myself through that again right now, and
Mm.
who's to say it could go awesome or it could go the same way. And I don't think that does anything for Steph De Lander, the brand. Steph De Lander, the wrestler, certainly doesn't do anything for your mental health,
Yeah.
So I don't like the instability of the whole situation of just being able to be fired at any point of time. And I understand that that is the reality of that deal that you're signing. But yeah, as I said, since I've built such like a stable, as stable as it can be within wrestling life for
Mm.
myself, I don't want to rush into putting myself in a position where all of a sudden in 6 months again, I'm terrified of getting fired because I remember what that felt like. It feels like shit. And
Mm.
I just don't really want to put myself in that position right now. So I think wherever my journey takes me and whatever path I go down, I think it's meant to be that way for a reason. I think I probably will go to WWE at some point, but I used to look at that as a near future thing. And as I said, the more I do on my own, the more I think, okay, maybe I can wait a little bit.
Definitely. I think you're the kind of individual that doesn't want to. You see people that get good salaries and they sit on the sidelines with WWE. Obviously, look, they're being paid, but they're like, not being used and stuff. Yet again, you've done something that a lot of people cannot do. You've rebranded yourself. Your stock is bigger than ever, and that takes a lot of steel. You know what I mean? A lot of you have to put yourself out there and do the right things, and you have. But yet again, I trust your brand is going to be huge this year. I know there's many championships that are around the corner. You've got so many already. You've had so many in the past, but listen, you won a title there recently as well. So obviously, gold obviously means a lot to you.
Oh yeah, I mean, I right now I have 4 championships. I'm the Women's Internet Champion, Focus Pro Champion, ACW Champion, and the Fearless Champion. So, I've been back in the ring, I think 8 weeks, and I've collected 4 titles. So I would say that's a pretty solid, solid streak so far. I think there's definitely more gold in my future. I think we're having a SDL belt collector run, and I think it's just going to continue getting bigger and bigger.
Definitely. Listen, we're looking forward to Dublin. First of all, yet again, guys, June 7th, South Circular Road. It's going to be incredible. The Ringside Club Dublin, watch this. There's an incredible roster there, but who knows? You might want that OTT championship as well. But we can't wait. The fans can't wait to see you. We're looking forward to what's ahead. We're predicting big things as always, Steph. And listen, it's a pleasure, and you will enjoy Ireland. And we're looking forward to seeing you. So thank you.
Thank you. See you later.
We'll see you soon. Thank you, Steph.
Bye.
We'll catch you soon.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.